Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I agree with you on the smaller cities. Obviously, a state like mine has all small cities and towns, and but have just as devastating effects sometimes. I will say this on the resilience issue. As we're looking to negotiate a larger infrastructure package, the president has asked for resiliency into fairly large amounts. I think it's interesting to note that under FEMA, it's another $1 billion. So it'll cut across all different aspects of not just the transportation sector, but other aspects as well. I'm just kind of making a note of that as I decide what direction to go with my next offer on that. Question on, you said the facts in the newspaper article were not, the data was not, it was, you don't know what that data was. So the data that I just saw from the article was that there's fewer than 3,000 arrests, and that means that of the 6,000 officers, they're extrapolating that would be one arrest every 2 months. What part of the data is incorrect there? That doesn't look familiar to you?
Ranking Member Capito, I am not familiar with the data that suggests that the ICE officer, the relevant ICE officer, conducts one arrest every 2 months.
So you don't dispute that there are 3,000 arrests and 6,000 officers?
I don't have the data at my fingertips,
okay,
but I will provide it to this committee. I will say that the preliminary data that I have received does suggest that we are apprehending more serious criminals, more serious public safety threats than previously was the case.
Okay, thank you.
And that is what smart and effective enforcement is all about.
Thank you. I want to go to the future of Title 42 because I think this is coming up on us quickly. I think the chairman noticed this. You are now able to quickly expel 60% of all family units and single adults using this the CDC's Title 42 authority, and I support the use of that for right now. But we know there are test cases in the courts and others, and you and I have talked about this. When CBP loses that Title 42 authority, how are you going to manage what could be about 6,000, well, what is now 6,000 migrants a day when you can no longer expel 60% of them?
Ranking Member Capito, the Title 42 authority, the predicate for this exchange is that the Title 42 authority is a public health authority, not an immigration policy authority. And so when the public health imperative no longer exists, we no longer can use that authority. And in fact, our use of Title 42 authority is subject to litigation challenge as we speak. We have different resources and different authorities at our disposal. One of them, of course, is Title 8 of the United States Code, which is in fact an immigration enforcement authority, the authority to remove individuals who do not have legitimate claims for relief under United States law. I should say one important thing, and that is that not only are we building back our asylum program, but we are building it back better. And in that regard, when I first joined the Department of Homeland Security back in 2009, the average length of time it took to adjudicate an asylum claim from the point of apprehension to the point of final resolution was about 6 years. And that reflects a broken system. So one of the things that we are doing is looking at our regulatory authorities and what we can do to bring greater efficiency to the process and shrink considerably that time between apprehension and final adjudication so that, number one, we have a system that works, and number two, quite frankly, we deliver results as both the applicants for asylum relief deserve and the American public deserves.
Well, and I mean, certainly you're anticipating us. I mean, the chairman even alluded to a surge when this Title 42 disappears. And I'm wondering, along with the surge for the CBP, there's also going to be a surge for ICE. And I'm wondering, you know, are you planning ahead for these kinds of things that you know are going to happen? And what kind of strategic thought is going into that?
We are most certainly planning for it. And as a matter of fact, when my testimony concludes this afternoon, I have a meeting on this very subject with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. It is our responsibility to plan ahead. That's what we do every single day and every single year that I have been privileged to serve in the department.
Well, I'm not sure we were quite planned ahead for the number of children that came over when we saw those lengthy stays and more max facilities kind of maxed out beyond what their capacity was. But I'll let that one go. I have one last question in this round related to this. Do you have knowledge of tent cities that have been set up on the northern border of Mexico? And I'm assuming those are set up, I think those are set up for the adults that are waiting for this Title 42 authority to go home to do that surge. Are you aware of that kind of scenario occurring in Mexico right now?
Ranking Member Capito, I am very well aware of Camp Matamoros. It was quite notorious for regrettable reasons for the conditions in that camp. It was a product of the Remain in Mexico policy. We developed a platform for the safe, orderly, and humane adjudication of the claims of individuals who were in that camp, and those individuals are no longer in that camp. And the platform that we developed is actually a platform for the future, a really terrific, innovative use of technology to provide legal pathways for individuals who have claims for relief under United States law.
Thank you.